Let me guess. You've been told the best way to deal with toxic people is to set boundaries, right? Cut them off. Ignore them. Build a wall. So why doesn't it work? Why does their drama still find a way to crawl under your skin, leaving you drained, exhausted, and wondering if you're the crazy one? You feel like a sponge, just soaking up all this negativity that isn't even yours. Here's the secret. The goal isn't just to block their toxicity. It's to become so mentally and emotionally strong that it just can't touch you. It's about building an internal fortress. And today, I'm showing you the 5 practical steps to build that bulletproof shield so their negativity bounces right off you for good. All right, the first and most critical step to building this immunity is a mindset shift, and it's a big one. You have to understand, deep in your bones, that their behavior is not about you. It never was, and it never will be. Think of toxic behavior as a projection. It's just a messy, outward spray of their own internal chaos, their insecurities, their unresolved trauma, and their unmet needs. They criticize you. It's because they're relentlessly critical of themselves. They create drama. It's because their own inner world is in turmoil. They manipulate for control because they feel completely out of control on the inside. Their actions are a mirror reflecting their character, not a report card on your worth. So why is this so powerful? Because it creates emotional distance. It lets you finally stop personalizing their attacks. Imagine their words are poison darts. For years, you've been standing there, letting them hit you, asking, what did I do to deserve this? But once you realize the poison is theirs, that they're just desperately trying to dump it on anyone who will take it, you can simply step aside. So here's your first practical exercise. The next time you're hit with a toxic comment, a passive-aggressive jab, or some wild criticism, just pause. Don't let that emotional reaction hijack you. I want you to repeat this mantra in your head. This is about them, not me. Picture their words as dark clouds passing harmlessly over your head. They are their clouds, filled with their rain. You don't have to stand under them and get wet. And let's be clear, this isn't about forgiving what they do. It's about freeing yourself from it. You only become a target if you agree to be one. Let's call toxic people what they often are: emotional vampires. They thrive on drama and they feed on your reactions. It doesn't matter if you fight back, get defensive, or break down crying. Any big emotional response is a win for them. Psychologists sometimes call this narcissistic supply, but you can just think of it as a hit of attention that validates their sense of power. Your energy is literally their fuel. To become immune, you have to cut off the supply. This brings us to what I call the energy audit. For 1 week, just pay attention. Notice the people and conversations that leave you feeling totally drained. Who makes your shoulders tense up the second they walk into a room? Whose name popping up on your phone makes your stomach drop? This awareness is your roadmap to freedom. Once you've identified the biggest energy drains, your mission is simple: starve them of the reaction they're craving. And your best weapon for this is the gray rock method. You become as boring and unresponsive as a gray rock. No emotion, no drama, no long drawn-out explanations. Just bland, factual, and minimal engagement. So what does this actually look like? When they try to bait you with some crazy statement, you just hit them with, "I see." When they start complaining to pull you into their pity party, you say, "I hear you." When they demand an explanation for a perfectly reasonable decision you've made, you reply, "Because that's what works for me." Use one-word answers. Avoid intense eye contact. Keep it short, factual, and totally devoid of emotion. Now, be warned. At first, they might escalate their behavior to get the reaction they're used to. Hold the line. When they realize they can't get their drama fix from you anymore, they'll get bored. And a bored emotional vampire will always go looking for a new food source. Suddenly, you're not interesting anymore because you stopped feeding them your power. Toxic people are experts at hijacking your emotions. They know exactly which buttons to push to get an immediate, unthinking reaction out of you. Your greatest power in these moments isn't some witty comeback. It's the simple pause, that tiny space between their action and your reaction. That's where your freedom lies. See, an emotional reaction is a surrender. You're handing them the keys to your own car. A strategic response, on the other hand, is you taking the wheel back. When you react instantly, you're playing their game by their rules. But when you pause, you bring the game back to your home turf. You give your rational brain a second to catch up with your emotional brain. This isn't about suppressing your feelings. Feel the anger, feel the hurt. It's about choosing not to be ruled by them. Here's how you do it. Let's call it the sacred pause. The next time someone says or does something that triggers that hot flash of anger or that wave of anxiety, you do nothing. Don't speak. Don't type. Just take one deep, deliberate breath. And in that tiny space you just created, ask yourself one life-changing question. Is this worth my peace? 9 times out of 10, the answer will be a loud, clear no. Is arguing with your uncle about politics for the 10th time worth your peace? Is defending yourself against a co-worker's snotty email worth your peace? No. The pause breaks the spell. It shatters the reactive cycle they count on, and it allows you to respond from a place of clarity and intention, not hurt and anger. Whatever you do next, say nothing, change the subject, walk away. It will be a choice. Your choice. And that is power. Okay, let's talk about boundaries again. In the beginning, I said setting them is the weakest way to deal with toxic people. Let me clarify that. Weak, flimsy, unspoken boundaries are completely useless. They're like invisible fences that a professional boundary crasher will stomp all over without a second thought. An immune person doesn't have invisible fences. They have explicit, communicated, and ruthlessly enforced rules of engagement. These aren't walls you hide behind. They are clear public policies on how people are allowed to treat you. The secret ingredient? Enforcement. A weak boundary is, please don't yell at me. A strong boundary is, I will not continue a conversation while you're yelling. If you raise your voice, I will hang up, leave the room, end the meeting. The power isn't in the request. It's in the consequence you control. To build your own boundary framework, use this simple formula. When you do the specific observable behavior, I will do the specific action I will take. Notice it's about their behavior, not their personality, and your action, not your feelings. For example, when you make critical comments about my parenting, I will end the visit. Or, when you start gossiping about our teammates, I will change the subject back to work. When you start enforcing these, expect pushback. Toxic people feel entitled to your time and energy, and they will test you. They'll call you selfish, difficult, or too sensitive. That's a classic tactic. Stand firm. You don't need to justify, argue, defend, or explain. Your peace is the only justification you need. Remember, this isn't a threat you're making to them. It's a promise you're making to yourself. This brings us to the final and most important layer of your immunity, your inner narrative. Look, a toxic person's power over you is only as strong as your own self-doubt. Their external criticism only hurts if it echoes your own inner critic. If you believe deep down that you're not good enough, not smart enough, or not worthy, then their words just feel like a confirmation of your deepest fears. To become truly bulletproof, you have to become your own biggest defender. You have to learn to trust your reality over their twisted version of it. One of the most damaging tools a toxic person uses is gaslighting, making you question your own perceptions, your own memory, your own sanity. They'll deny things they said 5 minutes ago. They'll twist your words until you don't even recognize them. That's why documentation isn't about obsession, it's about sanity. Keep a private log. Note the date, what happened, and how it made you feel. This isn't to build a legal case against them, it's to build a case for yourself. So when you start to doubt your own mind, you can look back and see the clear, undeniable pattern of their behavior and remind yourself, I am not the crazy one. Next, actively build your reality check crew. Talk to trusted friends, a therapist, anyone who can offer an outside perspective and remind you that your feelings are valid. Toxic people thrive on isolating you, so human connection is the antidote. And finally, you have to practice relentless self-compassion. After a toxic encounter, stop replaying their criticisms in your head. Actively talk back to them. Say it out loud if you have to. I am competent. I am a good person. My feelings are valid. You have to become a louder and more convincing voice in your own head than they are. Because when your self-worth is generated from the inside, it can't be destroyed from the outside. Becoming immune to toxic people isn't a one-and-done thing. It's a practice. It's the daily practice of realizing it's not about you. The practice of starving them of your energy. The practice of pausing before you react, enforcing your rules, and most of all, becoming your own greatest defender. This immunity doesn't make you cold or unfeeling. It makes you selective. It gives you back the power to choose where you invest your precious emotional energy. It's about finally deciding that your peace is your ultimate priority and that it is non-negotiable. You don't win by fighting them. You win by making the fight completely irrelevant. Your power was never in changing them. It was, and always will be, in mastering yourself. So, what's the one toxic behavior you're committed to stop reacting to? Drop it in the comments below and make that promise to yourself. Your commitment might just be the permission someone else needs to finally reclaim their own peace.